Okay, welcome to the first reading and the beginning of the podcast, The Rising. I will be uploading 5-minute segments to the best of my ability of the story I'm creating called The Rising. More in the description. But before we do get into that, there are some warnings. Of course, the language, the basically, I don't know. If you like R-rated movies, like this, so this is just some planning. Right. After a nuclear war came the rising of the nations. 200 years after the first nuclear missile was launched, humanity has gathered itself into small pockets and large caverns. The series of caverns is known as Domains A through D. Chester Sullivan, one of the habitants as the underground city, has participated in a project to recreate an Earth version of an alien starship known as EA-10. He hopes to become a world power and dominate the post-nuclear wasteland. Earth has become a hazardous place for any surface dweller, threatening life with nauseous amounts of radiation and wasteland creatures along with machines known as Sentinels. Okay, Mr. said, staring down at a blank piece of paper. How the hell are we gonna do this? The paper was at his desk. He had a model of an alien starfighter from the planet Ea. The actual starfighter was locked in a large warehouse being carefully examined. Chester worked there, but recently was fired because he was caught stealing a component from under the wing. He looked at the ER starfighter. They can do it, so can I. He kept drawing the designs and trying to figure things out. He realized he would need a team to complete the task. He turned to his bookshelf, looked for a phone book everyone was required to keep. The phone book was up to date with every caller ID and profession and previous occupation. He was looking for 5 different people, ones that were well known and well respected in their fields. He searched the nuclear sciences option and found a name he recognized, Marissa Steele. He wrote down her ID and name along with her profession. One down, Chester said inside. More to go. He looked at the blank sheet of paper and drew a top view of the Yar starcraft. He went along to the side view. He drew every small detail and wrote every description of every foreign part and marveled at the spacecraft. He revised the drawing, taking closer looks at every angle of the model. Spacecraft this that we can actually use by, Chester said, reading a crash log along the spacecraft. He grabbed another sheet of paper and placed it next to the drawing. He drew a Boeing 757 and scribbled down similarities and pieces or differences of the two ships and began to draw on another sheet of paper. He erased the drawing. The wings were too thin for the body of a complex spacecraft. He drew the wings bigger but had to erase the entire drawing again. The body was too small and brittle to handle such weight. After multiple attempts, he gave up. Never get this ship to work. After he went back to the bookshelf and grabbed a book of aviation and role-playing physics, that's when the phone book fell and opened up to a specific yet peculiar page. He examined it. Chandler. No profession. Expert in physics. Interesting. He wrote down Chandler's ID on the same sheet of paper as he wrote Marissa's. Then he went back to his old aviation book and opened up to nuclear aircrafts, which were concepts at the time. Interesting, he said. Nuclear hybrid reactor. He looked back at the paper where Marissa's number was written. He heard a large amount of questions from the book. He went to his telephone. Operator? Oh, Marissa Steele. Then Chester gave the operator Marissa's number. Marissa Steele, Chester heard. Nuclear physicist, chemical and nuclear engineering. It's just what I wanted to hear, Chester said. Who's calling? Chester Sullivan, Chester said. Engineer, nuclear and chemical sciences. Nice to meet you, Mr. Sullivan, Marissa replied. I have a couple of questions regarding page 54 of Aviation 101 and Encyclopedia. I've studied that book in my free time, Marissa replied. Ask me anything. The hybrid reactor aircraft, that's... Ah, yes, Marissa interrupted. Reactors at the time required too much fuel, and the plane was never able to lift off. Even in my simulations, I failed. The reactors. I'd like to build one, Chester said. Plain and simple. It doesn't get simplicity in this project. Not to mention the extreme temperatures and cost. Nuclear materials aren't available to the public. You need special access. We raided my place, Chester said. I hate when an operator is eavesdropping. Absolutely. Let me find your address in the phone book, Marissa said. What's your name again? Chester. Chester. Chester started. Sullivan. Sullivan. And that concludes episode 1 of The Rising.